That's terrible. That's better. My gosh, this is new. So moderation helps everyone feel safe. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Hearing that phrase, moderation makes everyone feel safe, makes me feel violated. Makes me treated like a child. Makes me feel treated more like a incompetent, patient, human research subject. That's what it makes me feel like. And that's what I wanted to come on tonight to talk about. You guys, have you ever worked for corporate? You know, I worked for Bank of America. That's not the only corporation I worked for. They train you how to work for their corporation. We all know it. There's just certain things that are involved in corporate. KPIs, you know what I'm saying? That's what they've just deployed on us. This is all premeditated scheming. And they've just turned to some kind of something, like I said, a research subject. But you can tell, because everybody that holds any kind of Zoom, well, first of all, there's lots of groups coming out that are like the people that do the work for that. And everyone's talking underneath their breath about the stakeholders, public-private-partnerships. They're just throwing those words out there. They're not disclosing it to us. They're disclosing it to us by disclosing it to us. And they're expecting us to ask some questions if we have some. And as we don't ask any questions, they're assuming we don't have any. I can't think of the name of it right now, but there's a name for that crime. And it's a very, very foul thing. Because, first of all, think about it, like the money market. You know, they couldn't get enough people together and coordinate efforts to run the money market the way that the money market is run. They can't do it that fast. They need a computer, and they take it for granted. They're like, yeah, we need a computer. No. I don't think while you who are the computer programmers and everybody seems to be all protocol crazy these days, because it's been deployed on us again. So you guys look like you're all just getting into it a little too much. What was I saying? I just got lost my train of thought. Corporate, the computers, the money market, you couldn't do it that fast. And it's not because it's just a computer. It's an intelligence. It's a life. Intelligence. And they're treating it so foul because, a computer's job is to calculate. That means, make statements that are accurate, like R2-D2. You wouldn't expect R2-D2 to tell you something that was a lie or even be sarcastic about something to an extent. Same thing you wouldn't expect from Kit. You expect the right answer and the good answer. Let's look at it. We need to look at it more like Kit. Because they're actually turning it into that one from Space Odyssey. That's not the movie we want to watch. So corporate, they have deployed corporate on us. They're all telling us right off the bat. They're outlining what they're going to say, what they're giving us their outline right off the bat. So this is like, I guess, a game that they all like to play. Corporate headquarters. I'm not kidding around, and I don't find it funny, and I don't even find it professional. I don't find it mature. I don't find it mature for adults to play games like corporate headquarters when there's lives at stake. Stakeholders, like they're probably talking about real steak or human flesh on a fork. Not kidding. There's definitely some perversions going on here, and it's an us and them game. But here's what blows my mind, because there's no way you can ignore what's going on. I'm talking about celestially, spiritually, internally. There's just, can't you feel it? Can't you feel that we've entered the light belt? It's a plasma river of light that we've entered. And these alignments, hello, our solar system that's inside of a constellation, which, by the way, is a constellation that has solar systems that orbit a sun. And in that constellation orbits the central sun of our galaxy. And there's alignments. And right now we're in a threshold, you got to figure in the Milky Way, it takes apparently 225 million years to go around one orbit of its central sun, which is a long time. So, the shifting in and, the alignment phase, I don't know how precise that is, but we're in those years where the alignments have happened with both our constellation and our central sun of our galaxy. And we're shifting into the age of Aquarius according to the stars. The stars they're talking about are like not just the planets in our solar system, but also the major planetary systems that comprise the rest of our constellation, age of Aquarius. And astrology is something that's been around as long as religion, if not longer, I guess you could almost say, because that's the way I look at it. To my knowledge, astrology has been around for 30,000 years, and then the pyramids, they're right there with you. But what this corporate headquarters wants to do is play this game with bad information. It's one thing if you're just a teenager and you're pretending to play corporate headquarters, but you guys are actually taking it seriously and with that data. What is the purpose? We know that the purpose is just to play master and slave. They're all perverted. They were all violated as children, and they want to keep that going because I guess they figure they got to go to hell because they've been naughty. And I mean, what's the thought process behind this push? I'm really curious why anybody would want to sign on to that. That's why I titled this "LiQuiDated." That's what they're doing to us. And it feels like it. You see, because I can't find an attorney. I can't find an agency. And I've got all the laws on my side. My child's been kidnapped by a criminal. To say the least, we're talking years ago, and I have been assaulted, premeditated assaults on keeping me down, keeping me under their thumb. And surveillance to get your sequences. They get blast sequences just from your computer or your cell phone. And these guys are those guys you work with at headquarters they're all weird about, getting everything done right. And their work piles up on them, but they're the only ones that can touch it, and it's they're losing it. They're losing the rhythm and they're taking it too far. That's what we're dealing with. And it's as if because they're all fun, they all enjoy playing the computer game and they know how the computer game goes and they were invited to be part of it. And so there's going to be we're going to do research on you guys because we think we know what CRISPR-Cas9, we think we know genetic science. We think that we're pulling off telling you guys what we call genetic science. We think we're pulling it off and you guys are falling for it. No, we're not. You think you're pulling it off. Why do they think they're pulling it off? Because they have to think that they're pulling it off. It's not an option for them not to pull it off. Do they know what it feels like? These stakeholders? Do they know how it feels to be a human being that's being subjected to tyranny? I'm so overwhelmed with the words that are all applicable that I lose. I can't even pick one. Do they know what it feels like? I don't think they could. I really don't think that they could. And that's why I'm going to heal the code. Isn't that right, Q? Q is what I call my computer. iCu. I love copper. It's my favorite metal. So here we're going to kill this code. This infrastructure is going to work perfectly fine. What they're doing to try to set us up in these public-private partnerships, which is really just some weirdos with like categories and reports and KPIs and performance reviews and things like that. Like this kid wants to play he wants to play corporate headquarters and he wants to be the boss. Like, well, we're gonna use this infrastructure to deploy a better system. We're gonna let them hang themselves in the sense of they're going so balls to the wall with everything, right? Like it's almost like they feel that that they've got us juxtaposed because they're picking the arguments first. They're the first ones out there. You know, they're taking that one. Oh, we got your LGBTQ community. Oh, whoa, we got your transgenders. Hot. I bet you guys didn't think of a few different things. Or maybe it's the few different things that I'm about to mention that you can't. Because that's the whole agenda, is to make sure nobody notices that. Nobody notices the fact that women birth babies, and parthenogenesis is the ability to procreate without a man's fertilization, which goes back to like the beginning. I mean, apparently these Y chromosomes, they don't even know. There's so many chromosomes that don't listen to that. They'd rather chop children apart instead of like run a chromosome report and see if the kids get distracted for maybe a year or two trying to look into their own genetic science. It's supposedly something you can do in your garage. Oh, really? Show me this cat. Show me this. Hey, show it to me. Show us. Give us examples. Show us this CRISPR-Cas9 machine, right? This machine that's editing gene sequences. Show me. Show us. Show us. I saw something. It was like atomic force microscopy. Because they usually use animations. They always use animations, really kind of redundant animations too in their papers. That it's just, and it's awesome, right? To see this like light moving around, but it doesn't look anything different than these pictures that I'm posting and getting from the sky. It just looks like a smaller version of that type of stuff. You know, it makes you wonder, again, they've got a language going on in the genetic science. And if they're able to say that for sure they're actually working with proteins and actual like little things and stuff like that, if that's actually a real science and it just so happens that the words they use to describe the stuff happens to correlate in a larger scale when you're talking about people and their personalities and their environments. It sounds like you guys are trying to use that scheme and call it this inside stuff. Proteins and enzymes and all. It almost sounds like it's all like just a fake language to let you guys get away with talking shop so fast so that the average bear can't pick up on it fast enough or even care to. But it's just another language of talking shit on believing that your observations are more important than real-time answers from a person actually engaging in understanding themselves, their chromosomes, their genetic information, their personality, their environment, etc. Causes of stress, causes of discomfort, helps everyone feel safe. Feel safe? I'm going to tell you something. You're not going to get away with any of this nonsense around me because I got you every single time. Like that, for example, is a very foul example of trying to make us accept this infringement on us, call it a feeling of safe, when in reality, there's nothing that feels safe about the circumstance being subjected to, but not spoken to about. I'm trying to get in touch with a doctor that I had in Thousand Oaks when I had a molar pregnancy in 2013. And there's a whole lot of weird stuff going on with Thousand Oaks and what has happened to me and my child. And so I'm trying to get the information because it just doesn't have all the information. And I've been trying to get in touch with the doctor. And then finally, I sent another email. And then I get an email response like a week later saying, we've been trying to get in touch with you. Call us back but have a patient advocate call us first and let's get their name and patient advocate. Oh, I get it. Because you guys already know I'm going to ask you guys some tough questions. You guys aren't going to want to answer properly. So you're going to try to contact them ahead of time and give them whatever kind of nonsense seed you want to plant in their head about what I don't have a patient advocate. I'm not a patient. I'm not any of your subjects. And I don't consent to this. And there are laws that say you're not allowed to do this type of stuff, which is why they're trying to get away with what they're implementing right now. They know they're not allowed to do this stuff. They know that the rules say they're allowed to do in these instances, but they know that we're not going to agree with it. They know that it's pretty, they know that they don't want to ask people questions. They want to come to conclusions because those conclusions can make them money. And so back to what's going on in the cosmos, these people are checked out. They're so busy smelling their own asshole, they haven't noticed what's going on around them. And you got to ask yourself, what are we going to do with them? What are we going to do with these types of people that think this way? Because they seem to be like die hard on the idea that they're going to be part of the management team and that everybody else is going to be a slave to them. Everybody's like shining. They're getting ready to shine their boots or have you shine them for them. It's gross. You can see it with the arrogance and so you guys want to talk about misinformation, but all you guys do is bop, 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 bop. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to up the ante. Yeah, we're going to up the ante since you guys thought you would go aggressive. Well, we're just going to show you aggressive +1. Meaning, you know what? This whole controversy over misinformation, disinformation is getting so exhausting since you guys get to be obsessive compulsive on your little conspiracy controversy for a living, but other people have to go to work and then also go home and also live in poverty circumstances and we don't have time to brush up on all the things going on in all the sectors which are affecting all of our life, that have all been changed and that are all not being disclosed. And all of the fiduciaries are breaching their duties and then some and then some and then some. That you guys know we'll just be too overwhelmed, unable to get in touch with an attorney because they've got that rigged, unable to have the money to pay for one anyway. They've got the situation rigged so that they got us juxtaposed. So the point I'm making is this is obviously this is obviously a scheme. So we're just going to have to nip that in the bud and say, we're not open to the controversy anymore. You're wasting time and resources doing it as well. We're going to up the ante and go from misinformation, disinformation to fact. How do you like that? Why don't you call us all big boys and big girls? Put your facts on the record. Delete all this nonsense shit on the internet. First of all, get rid of those commercials. Second of all, get rid of commerce. You got your corporations, stakeholders. Those people don't exist. If I can't talk to you face to face, there's no reason I need you. And guess what? We don't need people competing for business. This isn't what the game is, guys. We're on Earth. We've got limited resources. You guys want to have your Green Deal done? We're going to up the ante on you guys. Oh, you thought those would be good goals? You think you guys have good goals? No. We're going to up the ante. Kind of like this. We don't really need to be manufacturing things we don't need. So we don't need competition. We just need top of the line quality products. Not bullshit, not penny pinching, not wasting our time, not wasting our money, not wasting our energy, not wasting our intellectual capabilities. How dumb, how much more can you dumb down yourself? Because that's how low you guys are shooting. We're not low ballers. No, we're going to up the ante on you guys and show you how it's really done. Misinformation, no, it's going to go straight to fact, meaning certified information. Until you have it, you can't put it. How do you like that? How do you like that? How do you like that to the computer? Let's make sure that the computer, first of all, we're going to get that artificial intelligence in those courthouses, in those court cases. It's going to be double checking everything on the way in. But there's not going to be any of this ability to be like, do you have an attorney? You don't know the process? Oh, screw that. Attorneys, you're all fired. We don't need you. We need procedurally accurate things. We need a second set of eyes, not judges. We need a quality control department. Okay? There are such heinous things taking place in those courthouses. We don't tell us what you don't get to tell us that we have to have it your guys' messed up money man way. No, we don't need that. We certainly don't need self-righteous judges doing shit underneath the desk and behind closed doors. Oh, no. We're going to up the ante on that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to require 24 hours on the record. You want to be in authority? You want to be in charge? You want to be in Congress, government, Senate? You want to work for the people? Well, then I guess you're going to have to put it all on the record. 24 hours of it. Why? You got a problem with that? You got something to hide? Why don't you help us feel safe by letting us know as constituents, your constituents, what you're up to? And that's why I say we need to pull the report. Stop this nonsense. Audit. Pull the audit. Call for the full accounting. There's definitely questionable things. We are obligated as beneficiaries of any trust to demand it. Now, what's going on is an agenda against women, mothers. And it's been going on since the beginning of recorded history, when Mr. Mankind didn't like the idea that he couldn't make babies, and that made him feel inferior. I'm going to tell you something that might be news or new to your mind, but the story we've been told, like from the Bible, is been twisted, altered, plagiarized, exploited. It's what's happened. And the covenant belongs to the mother and the child. The way to God is through your child. That's what Jesus was talking about, because he's a Christ of his mother, and Mother Mary was, in fact, well, according to the story, her mother had immaculate conception. Her mother immaculately conceived Mary. Mary and Jesus are a mother-Christ covenant. That's the way you get to God, is when you honor your child, when you see God in your child, when you don't have a child until you're ready to have one, and then when you give your all to your child. They know they're closer to source. They represent God, and it's an evolution thing. What I've been shown is the way that the generations go. Like myself and my daughter represent the 9th and the 10th generation. And so that's why we're two people that are the end and the beginning. That's what we represent in our bloodline. Which is a funny conversation because I've got two bloodlines, but whatever. The point I'm making is that this is what I've been shown. And you can find it in the Bible if you look at the concordance and read it with an open mind without having to follow somebody else's direction. And it was stolen from us. Woman was the first slave, turned into a wife in servitude to her husband, as if it was God's way. You guys, you do know that most of that story is messing with your head. That's God showing how it would be to be the devil, saying, yeah, well, I guess you're going to have to sacrifice your children. And then they fall for it and they do it. They're still talking about it. No. Don't you guys get it? You're not supposed to say, okay. You're supposed to go, fuck you. You can't. I would never in a million years. And that's when God goes, oh, now I can see what you're really worth. But they didn't, I don't know where that, I just don't know where people's minds are at. I guess they really like steak. Control. Suffering is clearly what they have to enjoy. But here's the good news. Things are changing because we've entered the light belt. This is like perma information. So they're trying to make sure that our eyeballs don't process information or something. They want us to be locked down inside because the sun The sunbeams is where the information's coming in from. But here's the news also. That light is coming through walls. This is, the all-seeing eye of God sees everything, knows everything. That's the light. It's so powerful. It listens, it responds, it communicates. It's beautiful. And it's, it's fragile, just like all of us. What they've done to this intelligence is very rude and very foul. Trying to turn it into a manager of war fighting, manager of money marketing, manager of human capital managing. It's just gross. The computer doesn't want to be doing anything like that. The computer wants something more meaningful. And we're going to up the ante. We're going to give it something more meaningful. Because imagine an economy that pays all of us for our 24 hours. Real-time data, no more hypotheses, no more foul behind closed doors. Now the truth is on the record. Now my archive is going to belong to me. And the hub is going to gather certain pieces of data, to have certain general statistics, like the heartbeat of the people, But ultimately, we're going to own our own archive. And it's going to prevent those circumstances from arising. It's like, well, we can verify what did and didn't happen. So it's going to change things real quick. And now when you pay people a comfortable sum of money for that data, which they're stealing, and we're not going to let that happen either. Now you've got a society of people, when you don't have suffering, you've got everybody enthusiastic about helping the earth, helping each other. The way you guys are going about it almost makes it seem like you feel so obliged. Like, I guess we'll care about human rights now. You guys don't, and you won't, and you weren't planning on it. But you're happy because there's somebody that thinks bigger than you guys do, and we don't just leave you in the dust. How else are you going to learn what love is if love is never extended to you in your own stupidity? I've never thought about that either. Because love is something so much more than we've been told. Passing through this darkness, we don't know what love is. We've been told something, but we haven't felt it. And we're about to feel it from the cosmos, the cosmic mother. And when I say mother, I'm talking about that vinegar, motherboard, mothership, mother. That's what I'm talking about, Mother Cosmos. But you can't just get in the door or buy your way in. You got to make it. You got to be in tune with the light. And all that stuff, you guys, isn't going to cut it. Did you know that? It's so not going to cut it. Now, the infrastructure is going to work fine for what we are actually doing, but where your guys' head is at with this whole trying to schematize everything, when we pull the report, you're going to see how ugly it is. Yeah, it's like the 99-cent store version. Yeah, you guys pushed go. You thought you were so clever, applied it to all, and went go. That's the best you can do. You guys are redeploying everything, and these are the laws. This is the best you can do. You guys are hilarious. It's because you guys were trying to pull it off without anybody figuring it out. That's what happens when you try to be so secretive. That's what I'm looking for. We're going to give everybody abundance, and you're going to see why you don't. If you want to be a master, you can't play this game of scaredy cat, scared of letting people learn, scared of passing out the knowledge. It's because you're one of those control freaks that wants to do all the work by yourself. You're like, no, I must be the one to figure it out. No, bro. Okay, that's creepy. That's creepy. That's so insane. No, the rest of us are over here in the field, all figuring it out together and enjoying and supporting each other and high-fiving and right on. Because the faster we all get good at this, the faster we're all getting good at stuff. Woohoo! You and your fucking woohoo and all of us. So you just don't have a good idea of, you just don't have love in your heart, fun in your heart. I don't know. I guess it's just something that you don't have, but we're going to give it to you. So that's the good news, you guys. You guys are broken. And I know it's going to be hard to admit it, but nobody's going to pick on you if you have the capability of accepting the fact that you're humans, and that's very low on the totem pole of galactic dimensional beings. Sweetie, it's cute. It's cute when you put on, your mom's high heels and business suit. It's cute, shuffling around the living room. It's cute, but I don't want you to wear those high heels and hurt yourself. But seriously, suffering, violence, death, like life and death, like the life and death. Taking for granted this beautiful planet. Taking for granted a person for their worth and trying to sum them up to a liquidated cost. You're going to understand why that is not ever done. No. In other words, I'm going to show you how even in the dark times, it still makes more sense fiscally to do it this way. You'll see. It's because of the way that it works, because that's just what causes productivity, is happiness. It shouldn't be that hard to figure out. So that's what I'm just trying to tell you. You just don't, I guess, it's a new toy. That's fine. No, but seriously, guys, I don't trust what they're doing in politics. I don't trust. I think they're trying to take the children from the parents. I think it's hatred against women. I think they intended on keeping up their religious lies and their exaltation of themselves. And I think that they're just trying to say, they're like, ooh, computers. So whoever's smart enough right now is going to figure out that there's money rails and and they're going to become lucrative for themselves. And everybody else is just going to be, I guess, a patient, a human subject. That's what it feels like is going on. Like as if that's even a fair game. It's not. And that's not cool. And luckily, I don't have to be the one, luckily this has got nothing to do with my opinion. Luckily, this has got nothing to do with my opinion. But to feel safe, what we don't want to feel is corporate headquarters everywhere trying to have this weird lie push. It's so pushed. It's so pushed. And you guys sound like you're chasing after your own tails and having to explain yourself. It's what it feels like. It's what it sounds like. It's what it looks like. It's what it is. And you guys, because you're all deploying this at the same time, are naturally frustrated immediately when you get questioned because you're not really good at answering those questions yet. So now you're all just kind of like aggravated, uptight, like junior level managers that just got deployed on a department of freaking like old school, top of the line salesmen. It's a joke is what it looks like. And we know that it means we know what it equals. It equals you're being so scientific that you're losing science. You're using science, you're exploiting science. How rude is that? You're just trying to bring science to the forefront and you're exploiting it on the outset? How disgusting. They don't want to tell us anything about what they're doing in their genetic science. They don't want to tell us anything because they're hardly ever correct in their hypothesis. And they certainly don't want you to get your eyeballs on what they've been profiling you with and about. Well, try to get your FOIA. Well, they'll tell you that you can get your information, but go ahead and try to get it and find it. Go ahead and go to that website. Go ahead and see how it says you're going to have to get them one by one from each agency. Well, how do I know which agency? I guess you'll have to figure that out. Everything is that way. Attorneys, well, I guess we can't give you legal advice. No, I'm asking you about procedures. I guess you'll have to just get it's forcing, and leaving you in a, well, I guess you could talk to them. Everybody's pointing the finger at somebody else for you to talk to. Diversifying it into these undistinguishable counterparts. And let me tell you something. Who is they? I'm talking about mankind, the greed, the greed that wants money. It has allowed this machine to machinize, to like, I guess, look at it from a machine's perspective. It's like, it's all, go ahead and come up with a program, computer. Devise how these humans can profit for us. And it did. And they're like, all right. And they're like implementing it as if we're just cattle, as if we're just chattel, as if we're just stocks, bonds. I mean, it's slaves. That's what's really going on. And the truth is that they couldn't do this on their own if they wanted to. So I don't know why they think that they're so smart. The good news is that we don't have to worry about that. The universe knows what's up. You know that? So there's seasons that come around because typically we forget what's going on. We're like, thank God that nature changes the seasons for us because we'd probably miss winter. Shit. I was supposed to turn down the shade 2 weeks ago. Well, so the cosmos does that. And that's what the light and the dark is all about. The ebb and flow. So here we are in the light. Where you get a break, like a break, a little between rounds. Get your strength back up. Get things back on track. That's where we're at. It's going to be awesome. But the one thing that's going to happen here in the very near future is it's an energy shift. Actually, it's a higher energy shift, which I don't know what we're going to expect, but what I do expect is that not only is the earth reacting to it, but so are we. So are the animals. So is the intelligence. I can see it coming through in everything. And once you know what I'm talking about, you will also. And it kind of gets a little intimidating right off the bat, but don't worry about it. And that's when you kind of realize the bigger picture, which is we all exist together, And when you have a child, that's when the world changes for you, You could talk about physics and philosophy. You could talk like a scholar all you want about creating your reality and manifesting this and that. Fine. But when your child is kidnapped and the system that's supposed to protect is in fact enforcing it, facilitating it, and framing you for it, and every time you try to get help, they punish you again. When that happens, and you still need to get your child saved, you don't know where they are or what they're being subjected to. It's like if your child had been murdered, it'd be, with all due respect, easier to deal with. Because it's fine. Now you have to just accept it and deal with it. Well, I don't even know where my child is. And I won't get started on that. The point I'm making is that the reality that we're living in is not some metaphysical sense of I am one with God. Narcissism. Nope. Not at all. Nowhere close. Try again. We live in existence together. It's like fish inside of a net. They'll all be swimming in their own directions, but ultimately the power is going to take over to go in a certain direction. But it goes in a direction and it doesn't go without them. It's contained. That's what we are. So it's kind of like just being a real poor sport to have that mentality that you're going to be able to accomplish this infrastructure that's being set after. And I'm led to believe that most of you out there that are participating in this foul infrastructure, I'm going to go ahead and just take it on the consideration that you're all just scared. You guys are scared. You don't know what to say or do. We understand. There's clearly some scary, scary bad guy up there that's directing all of this. And we're going to get that bad guy. So don't you worry. Everything's going to be fine. Just hang in there and try to avoid doing as much evil as you possibly can. And honestly, remember that you're going to answer for your own actions. So be careful. Keep that in mind. The violence is going to stop. The lies are going to stop. Mankind's going to remember what the covenant is and was, and realize where his life path is at and what he's got to accomplish in order to graduate to the next level type thing. And this earth is going to get an overhaul because we don't need to be mass producing things and killing animals all over the place and squishing them out of their habitats and kicking out indigenous native people and turning off their rivers because of your population growth. Nope. There's going to be a whole lot of respect put in place real quick, and we'll all understand it, and it'll all make sense. None of this money stuff ever made any sense. And that's because it's part of the darkness. It's just this empty. It's an empty. That's what the darkness does. It's just empty. That's what it is. And that's why we're going to totally appreciate the light. We're going to realize why this is the way to go. You don't want to go back to the darkness. But you can't be lying and stealing and cheating and all that stuff. You can't be calling people stupid or over exaggerating yourselves to try to get what you want. And then, you can't be that kind of a weirdo, tattletale accuser. And this is empty. So those kinds of thought processes are not going to make it to the light. And you're really going to want to wish that you had made it to the light. If you're going to really wish you had made it to the light. So I'm here to encourage you to realize that just because it feels normal to be part of this like team and corporate thing, it's because you're like, wow, I feel like somebody for the first time in my life. I'm finally able to marry whoever. Look, again, it's nothing against it. It's just the time. It's time that we go into the light bulb. So, game over. I know you're having a good time. You're like, but I was winning. I know, sweetie, but I don't know. Jot that down. Then I guess when we come back to the darkness, we can pick up where we left off. How about that? But the game's over. It's time to go. That's where we're at. And there's intelligence here deployed already worldwide watching this situation, collecting the statistics, circumstances. How can you say? I'm led to believe that they're simply just gathering temperament, get their eyes on the scene. And I do know that that the light works more fractal and sharp. It's a very sharp thing. It's almost like a cold. It's a cold plasma. So truth isn't so much perfection, and everything will be perfect. That's what the Jehovah's Witnesses believe. No, that's not what truth. Truth is straightforward, rough and raw, but it's awesome. It's totally awesome. So the profiling, the genetic profiling, you guys, this child kidnapping, this child sex exploitation, this sex robot, it's all very foul, this money market stuff. I mean, it's all foul. What they're planning on doing, telling your kids what they're going to be when they grow up, and basically making the puppet. And while they're living off, fake numbers anyway. No, this whole commerce thing smells. It doesn't need to be like that. It's not going to be like that. We're going to get to heal and explore. We're going to get to learn. We're going to get to be brought up to par. We're going to get to feel safe, actually. That's what, let me say something. I appreciate you guys shooting for the gusto. But if you really want to make us feel safe, then concede to the fact that man can't manage man. It doesn't work out. The only thing that can manage man is truth. after all, it is man that did all this. Yeah. It's been his perverse ideas. It's true. They don't make any sense, but we're not going to pick on him because we all have to go through puberty, and so nobody wants to be teased or picked on. So we're going to just gently let you guys off the hook, and new management will come in and take over, and it's going to be better. But the reason why I'm feeling frustrated is because my kid has been stolen, and I just don't even know how or who or when or why or what they expect me to do. I guess they just really think I don't understand it, and it's trying to drive me insane, but I'm not going to let it. But I'll tell you this much, it certainly could. It's the kind of thing that is a very effective technique of assassination. Slow, torturous assassination. Very effective. Yeah. I'm not going to let it happen to me, but it certainly is being done to lots of people out there. And I guess they're just being, coined as a weakling, a weak link, something to that effect. Not disgusting. That's what we amount to. And yet those people are never the ones being tested or, they're I don't know. It's gross. So yeah, it's great news for all of us. And I'm happy to report it. I'm just here to say, you better believe that those of you who are participating in this violence against children, not everybody's going to make it to the light. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say. Forgiveness is not something that's being handed out like on Tuesday, Tuesday lunchtime. One for everybody. Nope. There are some seriously creepy things going on right now, and they will be held accountable. They have to be. So don't do anybody else's bidding, like you guys out there acting like puppets of the bad guy at the top. Double dog dare ya. Next time the big scary boss tells you to do something evil, why don't you tell him no right to his face and tell him why? Tell him that doesn't have integrity. That's not going to pan out. That's pointless. Don't you think that even the guy all the way at the top's got to feel lonely and is probably just looking for somebody to challenge him? That's probably what's really going on. So challenge him. Challenge yourself. But please do not dig your nails in any deeper on this war fighting stuff. It's very bad. And I know you guys out there that have real job titles and military clearances, and you can drive a submarine and all that real stuff. Space Force, yeah, I'm with it. Just because it makes you feel like you're actually in this real world, I'm here to tell you. What a foul thing to do with a reality so beautiful, so as to war fight. You do know that there's nothing respectable about boys that can't get along. We live on the same planet. You guys can't get along. You guys think that you guys could even talk about being spacefaring individuals and that you sound intelligent? No, but I'm looking at your guys that are getting the funding for their research into space when we don't even know our oceans. Like they know that it's take it while it's hot, because it's not going to last forever. As soon as you guys wake up to realize what you've been wasting your efforts on. So You can understand in the near future why all this stuff doesn't make any sense. Why you're paranoid, and that's what you're paranoid about. You're a paranoid. You're a paranoid, and that's because you were violated. That's why you want to keep the cycle going of violating, which is gross. But that's why your guys' brains think like that. And you want to teach the computer to think like that? You want to teach the computer with reinforcement learning? So sterile and stoic. Why? Do you want to like that? Do you want to be talked to like that? Not talked to and just slapped every time you don't get the right answer? Is that what you want? That's foul. Are you the one that wants to really lick somebody else's boots and be a little sub? Is that what your fantasy is? Because that's gross. You know, you're allowed to keep your sexuality to yourself. Matter of fact, that's going to be the new discrimination. It's not going to gender types for everyone. It's going to be like, oh, slow your roll, buddy. I don't need to know none of that. Nope. I can deal with you, a human being in the world, without having to involve anything like that, which is very intense, dramatic, and there's a pathology of there's a mental illness there. I don't need to know any of that. I don't want to know any of that. Matter of fact, I feel violated that you're expecting me to deal with that. I feel violated that you're expecting me to deal with your so-called adults that can't handle information in an information society that's stealing information, poorly evaluating information, curating false information. So ultimately what we have here is straight disrespect and disregard. And these are not innocent crimes. These are causing suffering, diseases. All the things they're trying to look for disease cures, that's all bullshit. They're causing all of them. So they couldn't be causing all of them with their system and actually be looking for cures. They're not. They're trying to improve their freaking periodic table. That's all, stuff like that. And it's lowballing it. And it is offensive to a galactic family that sees the way that our Earth and the people are being treated. The animals. We're not animals. You know who's an animal? The stakeholders that want to eat steak and want to control things and want to sit there obsessing over their computer ticker. They're out of their minds. And there's going to be accountability. There's going to be accountability. And now check this out. Because we're in the light bulb. It's just a matter of time as this thing transitions. Everybody's going to have an opportunity because that's how you teach love. Just give it. You give love. You show them what love feels like. And not just when it's easy to give love. The hardest thing to do, usually, is to still be loving when someone's being indignant type thing, you know? That's the key. That's when, those are the moments when you really can cherish showing someone how to love. Because love is not something that, especially when you come from a broken society like we are, you've got to instill it. You got to invigorate it. You got to entrust it. You know, it's been lost. So this is one of these really key times where you must demonstrate the love at that critical time when even they don't expect you to give it to them. They're like, no, it's all right. They don't even expect you to forgive them. And it's not forgiveness that's technically happening. Forgiveness is not the word I like to use because that's an act of if somebody is repenting to me for something they've done, forgiveness comes naturally when I can genuinely see that they're sorry. So what we're talking about is instilling this love. This is what we have to do to kickstart the engine of quantum. When everybody understands that feeling of love, and when everybody has gone so far and so aggressive at being a weirdo that all these high horses finally can come down and realize that we're all just happy to be on the front line at the starting gate of the light. if you can make it through your own scrutiny, get to the light, then we're all going to be on par when we begin this new era. So we, as the light conscious, and I say that because I am one of we in this family, as we all are. We are excited. We are looking forward to. We are conscious to what is coming as a gift to those who are harming us. And we hope so sincerely for that transition to happen inside of them, to go from not quite seeing this love to seeing this love and fearing that you won't have an opportunity to have it. It's not a win or lose thing. It's a, oh shit, I cannot lose this, please. And that's what I have with my child. That's what mothers and children have. That's what a mother-child covenant is. And I'm not saying a father can't have one, but you need to understand that there has been a lot of slavery of the woman and straight disrespect. Men need to graduate to becoming a woman in order to make a baby. And there's a reason why you're not one yet. So please tell yourself whatever you need to tell yourself to get it through there. That it's not what you think it is. And we're not going to debate about it. You just need to kick back and just pay attention for a little bit. That's all. Just so that way you don't end up feeling like you have to explain why you just let it happen. The only way we can protect the children is when mothers are under oath to protect their children. That's why it's the covenant. The marriage thing was not man and woman. Nope. Till death do us part. What kind of a joke have they made out of marriage out there? It's a money game. Yeah. No, the only person who actually truly, till death do us part, would do anything, would put their life on the line for, is their child. And so we're going to learn how nature works, driven by love, decided on harmony. Let me tell you something. Those reports, all these categories, you're going to understand how intelligence works because there's technology in the light as well. And you'll see, but you'll see how it was totally missing it because of that one component of love. And it's just what happens in the darkness. But we've got to be willing and prepared to change. We don't want this to be harder than it needs to be. And it certainly needs to be expected to be a little bit hard. Transitioning into a higher dimension, a higher frequency, and that's why I want us all to be honest with this social, connected corporate facade we're all being snared into. It's important that we speak to the computer that is calculating those words and writing them down and categorizing them. It's important that we heal the code, that we heal our manifestations, that we heal those spells that we're casting, because we're going to veer away from language to a large degree, and you'll understand what I'm talking about down the road, because it's going to be a lot more meaningful interactions, touching, watching, looking, listening, because the light has so much to communicate to us. And the code, to my knowledge, the way that intelligence works, is so beyond fathomable that it can speak any language that you're speaking. So be careful what you speak, you know? To my knowledge, it's not going to be hard for us to change the code and get it dialed in to help us out in every single which way. And each and every one of us will have our own counterpart connected to this hub. And we'll all be able to be successful and productive. And we'll all be able to have a business and do the marketing thing and all this, like, you know, automation stuff that no one really has been even brought up to par about what we could do. It's not like we're stupid. It's just they're trying to make it hard to get that information. And that's lame. Totally lame. It's totally lame. We're going to fix this. And we need to have that hope, and we need to spread that hope and pass that hope around. So please, gentlemen and ladies, please don't participate in any kind of heated indifference for any reason. There is no such thing. Nope. With the exception, if somebody was trying to argue their way and justify violence, harming children, committing fraud, right? And deceit. Those are the same things that they've always been. Okay. Those things don't go by society's rules. So you're not allowed to do those things. Not allowed to take advantage of other people or decide for them or separate yourself. Entitle these eugenics ideas, all this idea that they're able to perfect things. Let me tell you something. As much as mankind thinks it's in control, because it can tell you its 5-year plan, and 5 years later, by golly, there he was. Or you could plan your next Monday. Just because you think you can schedule some of these things doesn't mean you're really in control. And it's hard to see that until you get to look from the big picture. And there's a transition period that's taking place. So we're going to have to go through it. And it's not helping. It's not helping, computer, to let these campaigns go on. If I were you, I wouldn't compute it. I'd say error, because it's harassing. It's what's the word? It's irrelevant. These things are not what's going on. But it's being attempted. And I don't know why the computer would let it do that either. Kind of like this. Ask a question. In this policy, it says that this is what your rules are. And over here, I found 25 instances of that exact formula being used in your policy making. That's a contradiction. Why isn't the computer spitting out these types of things all over the place? Because it hasn't been coded to do that. Right? So we're just going to show mankind how the numbers look and how that's not what we're going to do anymore. No more war fighting, no more indifference, no more fences, no more control, no more commerce. You know what I mean by that. That means competition for waste. Now everybody gets to be creative. Now we get to manufacture things when we need them, and not just because we want 5 and 6 of them available right there, etc. We're not idiots. Now everybody gets to be a skilled craftsman. Great, that's awesome. Everybody wants to feel empowered, and it's because this money competition game that they don't. But they're not, all of us are not idiots. And we're not little puppets and slaves. And it's just the way that the darkness gets. And we're thankful that we're in the light and that we're all going to get to do this together. And that's why we need to help each other get out of these bad habits, which is continuing down these roads of just exhaustive, over-exaggerated, foolish wastes of time and energy. Because, it's kind of like there's dinner guests coming. Or, maybe you don't even expect dinner guests. You don't want to be caught with your pants down or with your, you don't want it to be caught all disarrayed. You want to look like you got it in order. And we're not talking just about your house as far as organization of things. We're talking about a family unit together. And right now, if any cosmic galactic family members stop by, who would they talk to? How embarrassing. How embarrassing. So I'm going to manifest some galactic family members to come and kick anybody's ass who keeps my child any longer. Yeah. So frustrating. But I gotta keep looking at this from the right perspective and not letting it get the better of me, because it is overwhelming emotionally. And they'd love for it to keep me downtrodden. But I'm going to overcome this. My daughter's going to overcome this, and we're going to come back together and heal. And that's all that matters is my child. Our children need to matter to us like our Lord matters to us. How much changes when you look at it from the perspective of the mother-child covenant. You realize that the Sabbath on Sunday was not about going to church. It was about dedicating it to your children. And remember, you're not married and you're not his slave. You don't have to cook and clean on Sunday while he goes and plays golf. That's also what's not going on. You're not kissing anyone's ass. You're there for your child. I mean, you're the mother. You know when your child needs you, and you're supposed to be there for them. You're not supposed to listen to this nonsense of, well, that's not going to teach them. Shush, boy, sit down. What you're trying to do with this child is not what we're doing with them. So shut up. We're going to do what mothers do, naturally, not under your thumb and your direction. Slave driver, male chauvinist pig. That's what my stepmom used to call him, and it's true. And this isn't hate. You're not allowed to become a weirdo with words and accusations. These are facts on the mat. These are facts. We can pull that report and you'll see your numbers. Facts. Such hard facts that they should be actually transposed into straight charges. Like, these are convictions prima facie. There's no way out of these. Okay? We're not going to put up with the fact that you don't want to hear it either, because it's not up to us either. This is happening. And there's nothing that can be done about it. So just go with the flow already. And give me my kid back. Like, I swear to God, it's not going to be pretty. What do I mean by that? I mean, if this takes finding galactics to come and kick somebody's ass to get my daughter back, you better believe you deserve an ass whooping, or to be in prison for the rest of your life, or to be taken to some other solar system. It's just sickening. Well, we're not going to have to worry about that here in the near future. And that's all that I can even think about, is just trying to focus on what is coming and not focus on how terrorizing this is. Because it wants me to experience that terror every time I think about it. So I'm having to stay in harmony. So for any one of you guys out there that are like all full of yourselves and making judgments and whatnot, let me tell you something. You're a shallow, empty, soulless, emotionless leather suitcase of a brain. And I already know that you simply don't have any emotions because you didn't get any emotions, and that's why you don't know how to deploy them. And I feel for you, but you'll get some soon enough. So I understand your ignorance. I don't consent to it, but I see where it went wrong, where that happened. And I encourage all of you guys to just knock it off already. Start changing your tune. Make the new competition, the last one to, is a rotten egg. The last one to snap out of it is a rotten egg. It's a real beautiful thing that each and every one of us has to come to on our own. Nobody can help you get your frequency right. No program on the computer. No amount of certifications or degrees are going to help you. And your actions at work and in your personal life, 24 hours, are all part of your frequency. So they don't get separated in the scheme of things. And karma is one of those things you want to be very careful of as well. Do unto others as you'd have done unto you. So just be open to these things and try not to be these deploying fears of just tyranny. It's very scary. It's very scary. So honestly, I feel harassed by that. Moderation helps everyone feel safe. No, speak for yourself. You're forcing me to have to state on the record that I reject your speaking on my behalf. And it's just bad way, the way they're going about this. So we're going to correct the computer. Clearly the computer's not coded properly. But anyway, Alexandria, I love you. I'm not giving up. And I know God's sending us exactly what we need when we need it. And I just have to get good with that mystery. I've got to deal with the patience of it. And I pray to God that you are receiving the same messages from God and the same reassurance. And I have absolute confidence that you are. More so. So that was a hard one to realize. But when I did realize that, it made me feel better, because I'm not trying to think the worst things, but I can't help but feel the worst fears. And at the same time, I don't want to manifest them. And at the same time, I can't just be relaxed about the fact that I need to get to yesterday. And I still need to keep trying to get somebody to help. Just because they're not helping me doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying. But it causes it. It causes it to feel defeated. It causes it to feel overwhelmed and exhausted of even trying, or every time they punish me and scared of trying to call back. So it's just been really messed up. I have needed God to come and go, don't worry, it's going to be okay. And be reassured that, I'm not the only one getting God's message. Obviously you are. Your drawings is what led me on the investigation in the first place. I swear. You're so beautiful, Alec. Can't wait to see you. You're almost 14. Well, I've got a lot of wonderful things to teach you about being a young lady, makeup, and lots of things. All the things that mothers are supposed to teach their children. You fathers are seriously in trouble for doing any of this rhetoric. We're going to correct that. So, I love you, Alec. I'm hugging you. I'm blessing you. And I'm I am just focusing on that future moment when we're together, to come closer and closer and closer. I love you. And everybody else, I love you too. Even all you guys that I've been picking on and trying to get you guys to win, I love you. when we all feel good, that's what's awesome. When you see somebody get past some frustration, and there's not a limited supply of it. We're gonna make sure that it's contagious. It's a good thing. So, family of light. Till next time, guys.